it was really rainy and a thunderstorm going on. Unexpectedly, tomorrow is going to be a nice day, but unexpectedly it came already today. I have a few hour gap here, couple hours gap. So why not sneak another stream in? I'm gonna go put this camera down. It's gonna be stable, so don't you worry. Don't you worry. We'll see how long this stream ends up being. Tuesdays might not be a great time to stream at this time, but I guess we'll find out. I wish for wings says morning coach, morning. Like the stream, my man, and maybe ask me something. You get the privilege of setting the tone of this stream by by what you choose to say. Say less. What do you mean say less? I don't quite understand. But we're gonna go out on the pier here. I found such a nice location last time. Elad Kababi, just in time for Blonde Jesus. Hello, my man. Hello, hello. Yeah, it's just the hair, right? That's the difference. Otherwise, I could easily be mistaken for Jesus. Let's see. I wish for wings. It's the saying equivalent of saying for sure or already on it. Okay. I understand. Yeah. It's kind of like you don't have to tell me. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. So people are dropping in. We might just get a stream here. I did not plan on streaming today. But like I said, we've had some collective activities here with everyone I know here. Weather unexpectedly turned very nice, and I have a couple hours before we have dinner, grilling stuff later. So I figured, why not give it a go? How's the weather? Well, you can tell, right? It's really nice. Like literally a huge thunderstorm this night and morning. You're gonna see a little bit of it in a video I recorded today that I'm gonna post tomorrow. But yeah, it was gonna get nice again tomorrow, but it came a little early. You know, is this with it being an island? You know, it's like sometimes the weather is a bit more stable, but there's a lot of like storm, thunder, suddenly sunny again, it's raining, but now no rain. Seems to be close. I think tomorrow is gonna be nice also. But on Thursday, when there's the golf competition, I think we're gonna have to golf in the rain. So I guess it's less shaky when I have this really close like this when I go live. But soon we're gonna sit down. Like the stream, guys, and keep asking stuff. Danny says that he been doing solo hiking Gotland and Fårö. Fårö is the island in the back here, so it's a way smaller island, but like, so where I live, Danny will know where. It's called Fårösund. It's like the little town right where you take the ferry to this other island. So any second here I'm gonna be able to sit down. 3 legs today. I lifted some rocks first, went away to lift some rock squats in the storm. Then it started raining, so I treated myself to a gym workout, some Bulgarian split squats. Let's see, I think we have an interesting question here. I'm gonna put up camera here. I'm so happy about this. Like I can't believe I didn't get this sooner, because my old selfie stick broke, and this one turns into a tripod. It's so convenient, and it's not like it's expensive or anything. Let's go. Here we are. Sun. We have the sun. Got a fair share of sun today. Okay, can I just have this a bit more stable? Okay, let's get to that question there. Let's see if I missed something. No. Okay. Like the stream if you haven't, guys. Keep some questions coming. So Elad Katabi says, Theo, Does being more consistent drive strength gains? I'm having trouble getting stronger, and I suspect that is the issue. My situation lately has made it hard on me to progress, but it's sorted now. I mean, it's hard for me to not go off and be all sarcastic when I get a question like that. Obviously, being more consistent will drive gains. Like, that's a big issue for a lot of people, that they're inconsistent. People often get to some kind of level, and then they just like, they get here, and then they're inconsistent, they don't do it, and they backtrack a bit, and they get a little bit, and you're just treading water. You have to keep the progress moving. And that's not to say, like, for instance, if you are consistent, and then, for instance, take a week off, but then get back to being consistent again, that week off, that might even have helped sometimes, that you got the full recovery, more recovery than you usually do. But if you're inconsistent as a pattern, of course, that was going to make it really difficult to drive progress. So yeah, I mean, if it's, and something I would recommend for someone like me, for instance, I can mostly, like now when I'm on vacation and stuff, of course, it's the part, I am maintenance mode, like I keep it a bit more freely, but honestly, still quite similar to my regular split, my regular schedule. It's just that for instance, the leg workout today is a little shorter, not as many exercises as usual and that. But what I recommend, if you, for instance, have some kind of work where you don't have the same hours every week all the time, what I recommend to that kind of person is that instead of having like, oh, Monday is this day, like Monday is upper body day, like it is for me, Tuesday is lower body, and so on. I recommend having like a sequence of workouts. Like I did that back in the day, like push pull legs. Instead of having like certain days I did it on, I would just go through push pull legs on whatever day I trained. And I ended up doing it like 4 or 5 times per week, I think. But you see, if it's hard to be consistent because your schedule isn't quite consistent, then rather than having like dedicated days for certain workouts, have an order of workouts that you go through, and it's going to make it easier to be, consistently enough doing the workouts to still be making progress. So obviously, being more consistent would help drive strength gains. And he says himself also, of course it would, lol, I see. Robin M, at your level, how much lean body mass do you think you personally add after a bulk cut cycle? Well, yeah, I mean, it's a good question at this point. Like, what can it have been this last year that I've added? It like depends. It depends also, because now, for a long time, my legs have pretty much been in maintenance mode because I've had this hip injury to work with. So probably now, because now I've just recently this year like made some more gains. Like my legs are clearly bigger, but they're still not huge. So for instance, now maybe I'll be able to add a bit more weight, specifically because the big leg muscles I'm gonna be able to drive a bit more progress with. But honestly, like, I mean, when I think of it, sometimes I feel like that's the funny thing too, when you get all the accusations of not being natural and stuff, because as a whole, like I remember like even like 4 years ago, I was in a shape like body fat wise, not so different to now, and I weighed like 80 kilos instead of 83 like now. Maybe I'm slightly leaner now also, but yeah, I mean, I would be really happy if I can, after a bulk cut cycle, if I've added like 1 kilo muscle in total, that would be like great at this point, I feel like. Maybe, like I said, specifically because the legs have had to be on maintenance mode a little bit, I can add a bit more there. But honestly, if I am to give some kind of answer, it's like, well, I do not think more than 1 kilo, probably less. And I'll end this, the point like this. Especially when you are natural, when you don't expect to like go go on some kind of cycle up the doses of stuff and just blow up. There's something called the paper roll effect when it comes to cutting fat, and what that means is if you imagine a fresh paper roll, if I pull just a layer of paper, you'll barely see the difference, probably not even see any difference. Just like if you have like 30 or 40 kilos of fat on you, extra fat, if you lose a few kilos, you're not going to see any difference. While the closer you get to the center of the paper roll, the more each layer shows. And I think in a similar way, when you gain muscle, if you really, reach the high level, just adding even a little bit to that just levels up. It's like wow, there's some more definition, there's just more pop to it now. So that's the kind of cool thing, that even while the actual gains, as in like actual volume and weight of muscle slow down, it's like the little gains you do make a bigger difference. It's like my arms now, I didn't gain all that much at all in mass in total. Still, I feel like it looks so different to before. Elad Katabi says, great answer. And again, OMAD or 2MAD. Like the stream if you haven't, guys. Keep some questions coming, because I can be here for a while, but I'm just not going to if there's not much action, you know. OMAD or 2MAD, and do you think it's possible to gain properly on such a diet? So he's asking about 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. Honestly, I mean, I don't know where you're at exactly, but you can gain properly on those, of course. I would say that OMAD would never be ideal for gaining muscle, because what it is that, you know, the training and total protein will, on a day will always matter more. But since we do not store protein, spreading it out, you know, 2 or 3 meals is going to be better than 1. But beyond that point, it's not necessarily that 4, 5, 6 meals is going to be better, you know. So you see what I mean? Eating more than once per day is better, but it's not a huge difference. So OMAD is what I think, it can be a great recomp routine for certain people. Like me, when I tried it barely 1.5 years into training, and I even did it in the morning, having this huge meal in the morning, and I definitely recomped without trying then. I made progress and I got leaner. But yeah, so I would prefer most of the time 2 meals per day, 2 or 3 meals per day. You can recomp on that too. But for some people, you know, it could be a massive recomp. That would be the only benefit of OMAD, that, you know, if you can delay eating until later in the day and then just crush a workout, have a big meal, like a really big meal with a good amount of protein, it's still probably going to put you in a really big deficit. So it would be a great recomp routine. But if we're focusing on just gaining, I prefer to have 1 or 2 more meals. Max Freezy, I'm craving some gyros at the moment. Please motivate me to keep on going with healthy food, that it's worth it. Yeah, I mean, you know, it depends on who you are, what I want to say to that. Because, you know, if you're someone like me that can, you know, let's say everyone here that I'm with wanted to go to a gyro place. There is no such place here, but it's like pizzeria, you know. I could very easily just eat that once and then not eat it anymore. And I think it always depends on where you in the journey you are. If you're someone that right now, you say you're craving it, and the way you're describing it would make me feel like, okay, you're someone that's still like building better eating habits. And then I'll say that, you know, it will pass. It will pass. It's just a craving. That's the thing, you know, many people, they get like overwhelmed by a feeling in the moment and like react. I call it the reaction loop with many things. Instead of being like, oh, I got a little craving now, you know, let's just let that be there and I go focus on something else, and you forget about it, you know. But what people would tend to do is like, oh, I got this craving. Oh no, I shouldn't eat that now. Oh, I have to really try not to, but oh, I really crave it. You know, they make it a bigger deal in their head than it has to be. So, yeah, man, stick with the stream here and just forget about it, okay? Elad Katabi, smash that like, common sense lovers. Yeah, do that, please. Vahi. Good. I always, I feel like you spell it W-A-H-Y, but I feel like I always say it like it's Wahi. Good new day to you, Theo, and the chat. Max Freezy says thanks. The gyro guy. Like the stream, guys. It's like we have 20 people and 5 likes. Gotta get some likes, guys. Maybe even a super chat if you enjoy the stream. But keep the activity up in the chat. That's like the condition for this stream to keep going. Alex Bonzu. Hey Theo, how you doing? All is well, man. How are you? Took a blood test today and my T and free T is tanked. I feel so bad. My cortisol was way too high. Damn, it was a wake-up call for sure. I mean, okay, tanked. I don't know what it was. And like, what are your habits like? because, you know, honestly, for most people, if you just stick to a decent regimen, like get your eggs, get your red meat, get your healthy carbs, some fruits and vegetables, uh, get good sleep, hit good workouts, and the sun. Don't forget the sun, you know. Do that consistently for a while. I have a hard time seeing, like, unless there's something, you know, you get really poisoned by other stuff, you know, if you're using a bunch of products of different kinds with a bunch of, you know, hormone disrupting compounds, well, maybe that's enough to hurt it, but lifestyle should be enough for most people. So adding the good stuff but removing the bad stuff. Well, my tea, on this test I did, right, to shut some heater up, I predicted that my tea would be lower because I slept so poorly, and it was, right? I went down to what I think is pretty average now. 660 nanograms per deciliter or something. I've been around 900. So that's the last point I'll make now, is that sometimes it's just because I would guess that if I test it now, it will be right back close to 900, right? So the time of testing really matters also. And sorry, even one more point is that, you know, if you're feeling good and if you're making good gains, that's also an issue that people do with many things, and that doctors do even. You're feeling good, everything is working the way you want, but let's say, oh, this number is no good. You know, our ancestors never worried about the number of testosterone, right? So, you know, what I'm saying is, like, don't get fixated on the number if everything seems to be working well. Let's see. Robert Wood, hey Theo, any recommendations to smash weighted pull-up plateaus? It is a notoriously difficult exercise, I feel like, to you know, to progress on at times. And it's also, you have to keep in mind, like, for instance, it's a very not rewarding exercise to do when you're bulking, because you are going to get heavier, right? Like, I remember one bulk cycle when I bulked hard, and I don't remember the numbers I was doing. I just remember that I just held on to the numbers and even started losing numbers, but my body weight was going up, you know. And then later when I cut, I could see the actual, like, no, I have gained. I can do more at a similar body weight I could before. So it's just keep in mind, well, if you plateau, like, are you actually, or have you gained weight so that it seems like you're plateauing? Other than that, I mean, I would just change something up, you know, switch variations. If you say weighted pull-ups, I'm guessing it's this grip, like maybe change to a supinated grip if you do fine with that, or a neutral grip, for instance, or a wider grip. Right, like my favorite way to approach plateaus is with windy, with all this hair. Maybe I'll have to use this, whatever it's called. But me, if you plateau for too long on something, I like to just, like, I take the bench press as an example for myself many times, that I just know the pattern from the past that I would run into a plateau that is almost impossible for me to move through, even while gaining weight and stuff. And I'll just put the flat bench away for a while, I'll cut. Next time I'll bring it back. I'll start out at a slightly lower level than I, you know, finished, because I'm way less. But now when I bulk, I'll progress beyond that. So if you can have this long-term thinking, if an exercise plateaus, why not change it out for a while? And you're probably going to get some newbie gains on the new either variation or completely different exercise. So that would be my advice. I think I have to do something about this hair. I see we have activity in the chat, it's good. But I keep having to remove hair from my mouth. I feel like I'm not so good at putting it up like this. I'm not used to having to do this kind of thing. Okay, there we go. Looks decent enough, right? Okay. Ryan Cabal, good evening from Japan, Theo. He said, hope you're doing well. I am. I hope you are as well. About to go to Hokkaido for a short trip. We'll stick to calisthenics on my holiday. Yeah, were you the guy that told me he was going to bring his rings to Japan? It's great. I wish for wings. Natural hypertrophy always talked about having to go through self-isolation for some time to become your own man. I've been mostly isolated all my life, and now I find myself wanting to throw my life to whoever shows me affection. I don't know how to feel about it. It's terrible, but the feeling is intoxicating. Well, you shouldn't throw it to whoever throws you affection, but it is true. I talked about this. It's dangerous, because look at this shit. Like maybe I'll just sit over here so I have the wind coming from a better direction. No, but it's difficult because it's definitely true that at times it's like a good thing to isolate. Like both because you might have to focus, you have things that you just gotta do on your own. Maybe you've been around the wrong people and you have to change, circles, and that kind of, you don't have just a new circle available, so you kind of have to be alone for a while. But it can also be trapped, like it definitely has been for me sometimes. There's this hyper-independence trait, just finding reasons to do, being happy enough by yourself, but then at certain times when you're not so happy by yourself, you are a bit too isolated. So, man, you say you've been isolated for most of your life. I mean, don't just be around anyone because they show you affection, like you said, but maybe put yourself in situations, new situations, to sign up for courses, hobbies, classes of different kinds, or just try to be a bit more outgoing. Honestly, that's also natural hypertrophy advice, right? Just compliment some random guy on his physique or his form on an exercise or something in the gym, and you'll have someone to start like saying hi to from that point. And sometimes you gain friends from the gym. I have gained a few friends, like actual friends, not just like, it's cool to get to know people in the gym too, so you just can shoot the shit a little bit when you show up if you want to. But I have gained a few friends actually outside the gym. So yeah, those would be some thoughts on that. Alex von Zoo says 250 to 300 nanograms per deciliter. I've been on holidays and drinking beer and skipped lots of workouts and slept super bad. Well, obviously it's tagged then, and it's like, then it's quite obvious if it's that level, because that's still like, it's low, but it's like not extreme. It's like low. It is quite low, but it's not extreme. So I think that if you just stop doing that shit, it will turn around quite quickly. So just do that, Let's see, where were we? Wahi. Yeah, it's pronounced like Wahi. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I wish for, okay, yeah, that was the continuation. Robin I wish you got more recognition for the fasting videos you do. They're very practical and educational. Well, I appreciate that. Well, honestly, it's still, like, even this channel, it's gotten more recognition now. But I feel that, that's the thing about life. You learn that, like, how like, famous. It's not, I don't want to be famous, like a childish fantasy. And like when I was a kid, I felt like, fame is some kind of measure of success, which it isn't necessarily, And now it's like I can enjoy aspects of having a following, being a little known like that, but also a lot of it is just a necessary, I wouldn't say necessary evil, but it's just part of this thing, right? But what you notice is that it's definitely not the case that just because someone has gotten recognition, has a following, whether that's on social media or something else, it's, the amount of people that know about you doesn't really say everything about how well you're doing with things. Like, I know guys in real life that I think about, like my friend Andreas that I keep mentioning at times. I'm like, this guy should be super famous, not again because there's any inherent value in being famous, just that he's an amazing person. He has so much to bring, and there are lots of hidden diamonds like this, So yeah, I can feel like that with this channel, that yeah, with the fasting, honestly, I have a sort of unique knowledge about fasting. I feel like in the setting, being someone that trains for building muscle, and the whole mental health thing, and fasting, and how to do it, how to combine it with things. It is some unique knowledge, and it is what it is. It's like, that's what I'm saying. Just because you have good information, you don't automatically just get like recognized for it. But I appreciate you saying that, of course. Yeah, Ryan was in Japan. Davis Kimball. I'm at work, so I can't stay, but have a good stream, guys. Well, appreciate it. Billy McBilly. Hello, Theo. Hello, Billy. Like the stream if you haven't, guys. Maybe send a super chat if you like what's up here. Peter Jenkins, do you think you'll ever be drawn to more cardio-focused fitness goals, like training for a fast 10K? I don't think so. No, I'm not seeing it happening. It's like, it just doesn't interest me so much. Like, if anything, it would be the case that maybe I do more cardio at some point, but no, I'm just not very motivated. Like when I've done cardio, I guess a little bit I took my times when I was running in my teens. But honestly, it was never so much. It's to me, it's a different thing. Because cardio, it's easier. Cardio is way easier to do and get benefits from without necessarily pushing it all you got. While gaining muscle, building muscle, you really have to push to or very close to your limit to keep evolving, right? So for this reason, it's like it's not motivating enough for me. I would have to have something very specific where I see like, oh, if I really improve my cardio, this thing would improve for me. So probably not. There, like if there are other fitness or training goals, like there are many that would come before cardio for me. Ella Katabi, if you could articulate the positive mindset regarding finding love for men in the mid-20s, what would it look like? Feels like everything is toxic and the internet isn't being much of a help. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing I always say, that we always have to take responsibility and focus on ourselves and what can we do, while also recognizing that it is kind of messed up times with all of this now. Articulate a positive mindset. Well, I mean, I think if you're in your mid-20s, you're not in a hurry, especially as a man, right? So that's for me. When I go, because I have an old like mother wound, when I don't feel good in general, I can easily feel like there's some kind of go into a bit of scarcity mindset with that. Oh, like time is running out. Oh, you know, if I meet someone, I want them to, I would prefer them to be a certain age, and so we can have kids, blah, 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 blah. You make up all these things in your head. While when I get into a positive mindset again, I feel like I'm not in a hurry. It's going to happen at the pace it happens. You know, the reason I'm not in a relationship now is that I've not found someone that's good enough for me. You know, it's not me that has the scarcity. So honestly, build yourself up. Just build yourself up. Make yourself someone worthy of a great woman and worthy of great, you know, outcomes and results in general in life. And then my second advice would just be that while you should never be like looking, searching for something, because always when you think that, oh, when I have X, then I'll be happy, like, oh, when I have a girlfriend, then I'll be happy, then first of all, you might repel it, but it's also something that might lead you to get involved in something that wasn't really meant for you, because it's come from scarcity. Oh, I just want someone, right? But at the same time, I see that I've made that mistake, speaking about the hyper-independence thing again, right? Still put yourself in situations where it could happen. Maybe make a move on a girl here and there, you know, if you see someone, you approach or that kind of thing. So that would be my positive mindset. It's like have an abundance mindset, make yourself so great that it's like obvious that you're a nice catch, and then just don't be looking for it like actively, like I need this to be okay, while at the same time putting yourself like make it more likely that it happens by the, you know, situations you put yourself in. It's really quite windy. Tell me if the sound isn't okay and I'll move somewhere else. Alex Bonsu. Oh yes, I would say before holiday it was fine, but it's interesting how 5 weeks of poor sleep, nutrition and alcohol can tank your tea so fast. Yeah, but even, man, that's what I'm saying, like even one night of poor sleep made my tea drop almost a third. So that's also the nice thing, is that if it can drop fast, it can return fast. Gains, brains and everything. Not grains, brains and everything. Let's see. Isn't having a chat full of kids spamming L's and W's better than a few people having a chat with you? I'm not sure what do you mean by that. I really, isn't having a chat full of kids spamming L's and W's better than a few people having a chat with you? Not understanding even. I see that Elad Katabi says that's a good one, but I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just stupid, but... Robert Wood, as a sunshine enjoyer, what are your thoughts on sunscreen? Don't use it. There's a reason actually here. I can remember, like on the island behind me, there's a really nice beach we used to go to. And I remember when I was forced to put the sunscreen on, and I hated it. I hated the feeling of it. I hated the smell of it. And now it makes so much sense that because I was corrupted, right? My senses told me this is toxic. You shouldn't have this. So my thoughts are like, I feel like it's okay that you ask, but I feel like I've laid this out many times, is that just be smart, like progressively overload. First of all, if you're pale, you don't have a good foundational tan, because it's like, it's not that the sun is dangerous, it's getting burnt, that's not good, okay? And you can prevent that just by building up a good base. Like I barely feel, I was close to getting burnt when I was out at sea for a long time, because there's also the extra reflection from the water, right? But then, other than that, there are natural alternatives, like tallow-based stuff that you could use if you're in a hotter place. But otherwise, just be smart about exposure. Stay in the shade when it's too much, or wear clothing, like thin, but clothing that covers up. Wear a hat, something like that. I would do anything to avoid the sunscreen. If I ever were to use sunscreen, it would be like, okay, I'm gonna be out all day, and maybe at sea. Maybe I'd put a little bit on my nose or something, but that's it. Yeah, have the troll. I'm pretty sure that it's the troll with 1,000 accounts. That's so fucking boring. Like, he has many accounts. He's the most dedicated troll, not just on my channel, that I've ever seen, but super, super boring. Elad Katabi, a bit of wind, but can hear that crispy voice just fine. Well, that's great. Just tell me if it becomes too much, and I'll just move a bit closer. Yeah. Alex von Su, vitamin C is excellent against sunburns as a protective measure. I didn't know that actually, but that would make sense. I drink a ton of orange juice. Last thing I did before heading out here was take some orange juice and electrolytes. Alvis Presley, how long should someone who is pale do you recommend tanning? So it's not a great sentence structure, but I understand what you're saying. Like the stream if you haven't, guys. I mean, it's hard to say, you're gonna have to find that out for yourself. What I will say is that if you're really pale, just like when I started training, I trained my exact 7-year mark was very recent, right, of training. But you understand that I count the first few weeks when all that I did was negative pull-ups 3 days per week, 15 minutes, I often recommend people like to be like, when they're gonna start training, there's so many guys, I've seen it, I'm gonna go 6 times per week, push-pull legs, twice of each per week, and they do that for a while, and then they burn out, and they're stuck in that loop of starting extreme and quitting. While if you could start here, you start here, and then you just add a little, so you're gonna sneak past what you could have started at, and you do it in a safe way. So just the same with the sun, if you go out, get like 15 to 30 minutes or something of higher exposure, and you see how you react to that, and then you gradually amp it up from that. You see what I mean? I don't like to tell you something exactly because I just don't know, right? It would be different for different people. Like, because someone that is pale, they could, for instance, eat a good diet and still have more resilient skin than someone else. So that would be my advice. Like, just actively do exposure, keep a little track of how long was I out, at what time, what is the UV index at that time, and then build on from that. I wish for wings. Speaking of sunscreen, I'm going to Vietnam in 2 weeks. Gonna attempt marinate myself. I think you should. So for now, I've run out of stuff in the chat. So I can stick around a bit longer, guys. But like I tell you, I'm just not gonna pull stuff out of thin air to talk about. I recorded a video today. That's my first thing go-to, but I don't want to, since it's gonna be a video tomorrow, I don't want to talk about that yet. Like the stream if you haven't already, guys. El Al-Katabi, the key is finding the style and frequency of training you like. I found that I like and react better to full body. Rest for 3-4 days, then train again. Also saves time. Well, I would find that way too little and boring, but if it works for you, of course. If it works for you and your goals, and you like it, sure. But for me, that, because sometimes I feel like, and not you necessarily, but sometimes I feel like people say, like, you don't have to do that much. And it's like, well, what if I want to, what if I want to do that much? And then I would more tell like a beginner that wants to take on too much, to like, you don't have to do that much. But now, for instance, I don't have to train every day like I do, but since I like that, I'd rather have that like 5 hard workouts and 2 days when it's like, neck, forearms, things that aren't so straining anyway, instead of mashing them in on other days. Billy McBilly, did you get any pickled herrings? That's really funny that you ask, because specifically today, that was my solution for lunch. I ate pickled herring with queso, like cottage cheese, and some potatoes. So I did. I love it. Can't get enough of that stuff. It's really funny timing, because I will eat it every once in a while. It's a go-to to break fasts for me. But the last time I ate it before today was a few weeks ago, so there's funny timing. Oh, of course you did, he says. Elvis Presley. Are you religious, by the way? No, I happen to wear a cross here, but I got it from a friend that told me, imbue it with whatever you believe in. We talked about this on the last stream. Since I found God really like by personal revelation on the inside, it's hard for me to believe into any religion. We had some guys trying to convince me about Jesus, and I'm telling them, I'd love to be convinced about Jesus, but I'm just not seeing it happening from any sort of intellectual argument. Just like I had a personal revelation about God, I feel like I would have to have the same with Jesus or any other religion for that matter. The way I see religions are that they are different interpretations of God and different attempts at guiding you to God. And I think many followers of religions, like, we believe in the same God, but just because of being brought up in a religion or something like that, that was their path. That's what I say in the end. It's like my morals, my values that I feel like I can just discern for myself. They very much align with Christian values, for instance, and that's what I mean. I don't feel like I need a religion for it. Last thing I'll say for now about that is that the only thing that I think religion brings that's hard to do with some sort of general belief in God is the community aspect. But at the same time, joining a church, I feel like I'd had to be in a community with a bunch of people that are like intellectual believers, or believers out of fear of going to hell and stuff. So it's a tricky one. But I believe in God. I'm not really religious. Like the stream if you haven't, guys. Maybe send a super chat if you appreciate anything coming up here. Robert Wood, have you ever tried reverse bench? Just started doing them as I find it more comfortable for my shoulders. Yes, because I saw Mike O'Hearn do it. I've gotten many nice exercises from Mike O'Hearn, actually. So I did do it a bit more for a while. It's like, I don't think it's a bad exercise. I know that he does it specifically because he feels it's more triceps, and I can see why. There's a bit more of extension going. It can definitely be nicer on the shoulders because you're closer to the body like that. So yeah, I had tried it. I played around with it a bit. Didn't find that I had personally had great use for it, but I can definitely see why it would be a good option for some people. And Elad Katabi says, yeah bro, enjoyment is also a thing. Do you find that you enjoy training more frequent than not? Yeah. Yes, I think I just told you. Yeah, at this point, I love it. If it's at earlier stage, you try to get away with it, like, oh, I don't want to train, or I don't feel like eating well or something. There comes a point when you just really want to do it. I train, I have scheduled workouts every day, but I will go out in the outdoor gym and just stretch things out, or do a little mobility work, or go out with my mace and stuff. I love it now when I function well, when my body is in great shape, it's so capable, it just feels good to move it. and I intuitively know so much that if I'm a little stiff or something, I know what I can go do to feel better, you know. So I feel like it's a privilege to get to move. It's not that I am trying to get away with as little as possible. Elad Katavi, sun exposure, is more exposed skin better or not necessarily, and just not think about it too much and get more time under the sun? More skin is obviously better, like that's why I've gotten the Speedos. I mean, ideally if you could be completely naked, that would be great, you know, but social norms and stuff. Like, yeah, no, more skin is definitely better. And you know, the whole sun your balls thing is a little bit of a meme, but two things. That might be skin gets less exposure, and more exposure is better. But there are, I don't know if it's androgen receptors or something else, that there are more on the balls and on the chest. Like specifically those areas might be even more beneficial for testosterone to get exposed to the sun. So more is better. Yeah. Robert Wood, do you try to be out in nature every day? Yeah, man, I mean, as much as possible. Like, I live in a city, but I happen to be blessed enough to live on the edge, so I have not a deep forest, you know, like true, actual deep nature, but still way different to walking in a city. I try to go out on a little walk there, take a little break from work, just go get a little bit of serenity in nature. Here, of course, being where I am, it's like it's a village, but I mean, you know, this is some kind of it's not city climate, right? So yeah, I try to, especially if you are someone living in a city, I think it's very important to detox. You either get little mini detoxes throughout the day from city environment, or actually go away on longer trips. Yeah, I mean, when I went to Greece, I know someone that lives on a Greek island, and I went to stay with them. And just, apart from it being a beautiful environment there, you know, the silence, that is actual true silence, that when you live in a city, there's always some kind of background noise, and you don't realize, because you're conditioned to it, that these things do stress you out, you know, they contribute to stressing you out. And when you get to actual nature, actual silence, it's like, it's like I've been yearning for this without even knowing about it. And because of this is why I say also, contrast and having different experiences, that makes you more conscious to things. I've noticed that this last year I've been more sensitive than ever to loud city noises, you know, like drilling and stuff. I hate it, absolutely hate it now. And I think it's because I realized now that these things actually bother me. I've just been conditioned to get used to it at times. Alex Fonsu says, avoid face to start, but expose whole body and use antioxidants, healthy fats and eggs, yolks especially. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about avoid face to start, but definitely antioxidants and the egg yolk. Hydrate with electrolytes, yeah, for sure, definitely. So a little empty on the chat once more. I think I'll move either way, and I can get some time for you guys to talk a bit more. Also because I discovered that if I have this like really short, really up close, it isn't really as shaky, even on a stream. Walk a little slowly like this. Yeah, guys, gotta keep talking, otherwise I'll go be social with the other people before we grill the meat. It's nice. I like being in this mood when I just feel like if I get some time I can just go live, and the streams, like pretty much you guys decide many times, up to a certain limit of course, but you guys decide what the stream ends up being. Elad Katabi, what are your goals with the channel? Well, you know, it's hard because I mean, many videos that I do that I think are good, they just don't get that many views. And of course I'd like the channel to grow, but it's the, you know, that I've been so patient with growing it slowly and playing the game of the algorithm very little, you know. Of course I keep it in mind with certain titles and stuff, but that has really made it so the growth have been slow, but high quality. Like the guys, that's why I could, even for just a few thousand, back in the day, I could get coaching clients, right? So I'd like to grow it, but keep doing what I do. And I mean, if it got to a bigger level, I'm good at streaming, right? Like I can just talk. I could just talk and go off, and I like responding to questions and stuff. So if I could count on higher activity, doing streams, I could definitely see myself doing streams more often. But I mean, grow it slowly and steadily. Maybe, like we talked about on some other streams, lean into some of the things I can do that are a bit more triggering and controversial to gain a bit more attention. But always, I try to always stick with, what do I think is good and honest and real valuable content over like what do I think most people will click like that. Hey. So Alex Fonsu says face tends to burn faster if you aren't exposed. Yeah, no, but I mean maybe bring a hat then, to be prepared. And then I also, so Ella asked about the goals with the channel and for yourself personally. And he also said, keep being authentic, joined with you when you were sub 10K and you've already grown so much. You will come with the honesty of your personal brand. People really appreciate it. Well, I really appreciate that, man. Goals for myself personally, it's actually apart from, because of course the Uncommon Sense channel is part of my goals myself. But actually lately I've had some goals of doing more things in real life, like both professionally and personally, just take up more activities. I signed up for a dance class. I've been, spotting this hyper-independence trait, just gone out of my way to be more social in general. But I'll actual work too. Probably in August, there is a chance I'll start doing some more personal training in the gym that I already train, because it's a place where you don't have to be employed by the gym chain. You just hire a spot, and you're like a consultant, you're doing your own thing. And since I really like that gym and the people there, and I train there, it will be really convenient. And then we'll see. I mean, people keep asking me, Swedes also, about doing like some kind of retreat and stuff. So when it comes to me, my personal goals, a lot of them have to do with doing more stuff in real life. Like both be more outgoing personally, but also for work outside of online stuff. And then I guess, I mean, I'd love to get into a relationship, but like we talked about, it's not something to force. There are some stuff going on there that I don't know where it's going to go. That would be some of my personal goals right now. And I mean, with the training, of course, just keep growing with that. Okay, it's a little dead in the chat. I mean, I imagine that going live on a Tuesday at this time would be a little slower. A bit off topic now. What's your dream car? I mean, you can ask me anything like that, but when it comes to cars, I'm not really huge on cars. Like, I don't drive much. I think if I had a really nice car, I would just be stressed out about, like since I don't even care much about it, I would just be stressed out that I'll damage this car. But honestly, I don't have any dream car. I'm not so big on material things in general, Like when it comes to like financial success for me, it's more about, the freedom that if I have to do something, if I have to buy something, if I want to go somewhere, I don't have to worry about it. But it's like I could be the guy, unless I got like, filthy, disgustingly rich. I don't know that I would invest in, like, why? I don't care about having a fancy car. It would just be like if I just have $100 million out of nowhere. I mean, I might as well buy some expensive car, but it's like it's not on the top of my list at all. It's like it's just the things I'm really into when I get like with training equipment. I have some really nerdy niche equipment because I love training. Driving, I drove my mom's little Toyota today. It's like that's okay. No, even when I try to think about it, I just don't care about cars much. I just don't. Now there's no wind, you can remove that thing. I mean, I've tried to push this to an hour, guys, But um, yeah, Alex Fonsu, before you go, Theo, tell us a random story you experienced lately. Well, we were thinking about doing the story time streams, right? I mean, a random story lately. I mean, the most recent thing, and I think I'm gonna do some kind of separate video on that anyway. But the most interesting story to tell would be when I went to stay with a client, like doing the David Goggins camp, right? Actually living with a client and forcing him to do all these things. But since I'm gonna do that in its separate video, I think that would be, yeah, the main story. I mean, it would be easier for me right now if you're like, if you ask me about, can you tell a story? Have you experienced this kind of thing? You know, I can go even further back and tell a story about something. Because I did do that video when I mentioned the idea of maybe doing streams. There are like story time streams. Because, you know, if I'm prepared to be like, I'm going to talk about this topic, or I'm going to go tell this specific story I was through, it's a bit different. And I could do streams like that when I like ignore the chat at the start and just tell a story and then come to you guys. But right now it's a little hard to just pull something out like that. But I'll stay here for at least 10 more minutes. If you can help me come up with something. Elad Katabi, it's more of a love for 2000s tuners for me, but I digress. Tuners. What are tuners? 2000s tuners. Alex von Su says, story times would be fun. Yeah, man. I mean, I have many stories about like party situations, these crazy situations. Older cars, street racing culture. Okay. Well, I mean, if you're into that, that's fine. I've just never really been like my car interest peaked when I was like, you know, kindergarten age. Like I was really good at spotting different car brands and stuff then, but then I just kind of lost interest in that. Yeah, I mean, driving is okay, but it's like being in a city too. I don't really need to drive so much either, and that combined with not really having this general interest for cars is just like, yeah, it's been convenient here that I can drive to a nice location and record, for instance. But yeah, in the city, I like avoid driving as much as possible because mostly I don't have to. And yeah, he says the 2000 tuners, cars that you could modify to your heart's content. Yeah, you know, I'll tell you this. My uncle that is here, he is really into cars and like modifying them and stuff. He has here, I think it's a Dodge. Or is it a Dodge? No, he has a Dodge, but this is like a Pontiac. Pontiac? Yeah, we drove with it from the last time we played golf. Mo for gains. What do you think about fasting during Ramadan for Muslims? When I think about it, just generally, I mean, you do. I think it's something that Muslims do for Ramadan. But I mean, I've actually played with the idea to like just try fasting for Ramadan for no religious reason or anything, but just like see how I deal with that. Because it's like an intermittent dry fast, right? No, when I think about it, it's like, you know, I can see the purpose of doing things like that. I think it's a good thing to do, whether you're religious or not. Of course, I think there are other ways to do it, like doing like complete fast for like 5 days and doing them less often. It serves a similar purpose. But, you know, I think fasting in general, being you know, going through times of not necessarily depletion, but restriction, because in this society, people overindulge in so many things and they never really have to go hungry, never really have to go thirsty, never really have to go unstimulated. So I think fasting from all kinds of things is good. And I think Ramadan fasting is one kind, right? Of course, it's not going to be ideal, not as easy if we're talking training, but that's like part of it, right? That's why always make it as easy as possible for yourself. Why not see what you can do with a little bit less, and also you're gonna be more grateful to get to do whatever you want when that's over with. So, since you just asked so generally, those are some thoughts. Elad Katabi, what are hobbies that you like that you haven't yet shared on the channel? Well, that's a tough one because, I mean, I am so into what I do, even when, uncommon sense, whatever you want to summarize all of those things as. I mean, I love all that stuff, right? Like when I go around, like if I start talking to someone in the gym or in different places, when I see that I meet someone that will listen to me and take in what I say and want to learn from me, I love that. I get on top of that immediately, right? But and many things I like to do, like when I meet a friend, it can be like, oh, let's go sauna together and we catch up on life, right? um and I like to go do the sauna myself. These are things, of course. If I try to come up with something you don't know, I mean, there's some mosquitoes here, always the mosquitoes. But I mean, I can't really say video games because I've talked about how I wish, like, I like video games. I have fond memories of them, but I really can't enjoy them so much anymore. I'll say that one guilty pleasure I've had sometimes, I say like this. Um, Many times, if you can, consume content and it's both entertaining and educational for you, that's great. But I think sometimes you just have to come up with something for your downtime too. Get out of the gotta be productive at all times mode. And something I like to watch that's just satisfying to me is actually, it's been a while now, but it will happen every once in a while, speed runs of games. I just really like seeing people optimize and beat the shit out of games I played as a kid. And I think it's both that I have this old video game interest and that I'm an optimizer myself. I can kind of respect the grind of just doing it over and over and over and over the same fucking game and just trying to improve your time on it. Just like in the gym, you're doing the same things over and over and just trying to improve by this much all the time. So that's, hobby, I don't know if I would call it, but it is something I might have not mentioned on the channel that I can enjoy. Yeah, it's just meditative for me. Watch someone speedrun, optimize a game like that. Mo for Gains, I appreciate you sharing your thoughts, my kind sir. Well, you're welcome, good sir. Elad Katawi, haha, good. Yeah, man, spare some time for yourself to recharge. Good for the soul. Yeah, I mean, we all have to do that. That's what you realize. It's part of the and that can be for someone that is like someone that wants to be productive and reach different kinds of results. Realizing that not going full steam ahead at all times, actually taking some time to wind down, that will overall, because that way I see many men that I work with, right? They feel like, no, I gotta work though. But if I don't do it now, I gotta do it now. But if they actually took some time to rest, but also build themselves up, would prioritize eating better, sleeping better, training, they would actually be more productive. For a temporary hit, that productivity with work, they would gain more in the long run. So, yeah, balance as always. Balance as always. Elad Katavi, do you give yourself a day off after some days of work or a certain portion of the day? Um, I mean, I like to, on most days when I'm in my like normal setting, I will, because I go up quite early, usually at 5, right? Usually I'll be done with most work at 5 in the evening or afternoon, whatever you want to call it. Fucking insects fly into your mouth and stuff. No, but so often the last few hours there is where I'll wind down. Maybe meet someone for a sauna. Maybe just chill, like I said, watch some speed run or whatever. Like do something that isn't necessarily productive. During the summer, since I am privileged enough that I am my own boss and I do my own thing. There's a lot of extra responsibility with doing that, but there's also a lot of extra freedom and stuff. So if I can see that, let's say I had a couple clients cancel on a day, and I have some more. If I can reschedule them, for instance, maybe I'll open up a day more. If I see it's going to be nice weather, so I can be outside more on a nice day, or maybe go do some activity with someone. So, yeah, I like I give myself a day off sometimes when speaking of this about being less productive now to be more productive later. Sometimes when I've just been really behind on sleep which happens especially in the summer, I might take a day that is like a dedicated day to like, I'm gonna do almost as little as possible now, or if there's something I have to do, I'll get it out of the way as early as possible, and then the day is dedicated to resting, so I'll be more ready to push on the other days after that. Mo for gains. I miss Sweden, such a beautiful country. So you've been here? Um, And he also says, I don't want you to dox yourself on the internet, but you live close to Västerås. Probably gonna go back next year and would love to get a lift with you if you were free. I mean, reach out and we'll see. I can't just meet everyone that reaches out. Like, you know, some guy reached out once and he said he was gonna move to Sweden in a few months and like, oh, it would be cool to hang out and stuff. And I'm like, well, you know, that's cool that you like my stuff and all that, but I can't just meet you. I have no idea who you are. You know, plan this thing way ahead. So, you know, I have met people that reach out, you know, but the timing has to be right. And what I would say is like someone that I don't know, I don't feel like I can plan it like such a big, it's like reach out close to when you're there and we'll see. But close to Västerås, I live in Stockholm, right? So it is fairly close. I mean, it takes a while to travel, but it's not, you know, something you could do. I mean, when I was in a choir, there was one guy that traveled from Västerås every Thursday when we had rehearsals. So, yeah, live in Stockholm. Maybe we could get the lift in. It's not impossible. Alex von Su, I see you play on Instagram. Have you tried the courses on Gotland? I mean, are you aware of the courses on Gotland? I've tried. I think I've tried them all. There are two ones that I play the most on, and then there's one that's like a more expensive one. I think I just played once or twice. But Slite and Gotska, yeah, those I played. I played on Gotska earlier. We're gonna play on Slite next time on Thursday. Mo for Gain says, of course, like the guy with Västerås. We talked before on Instagram, and you probably know who I am, but yes, I get what you mean. Well, I probably do. If you have a different name on Instagram, because I'm pretty good at remembering people that have been, you know, reaching out consistently. But if you have different screen names, I can't make the connection, of course. Elad Katabi, I find that I have to take a day or a couple to recharge. As I'm writing a sci-fi fantasy novel, you gotta give time for the brain to recharge after being turned into jelly, haha. And he also says, nice to hear about your experiences. Yeah, that's what I've seen. It's also a thing. I think when you have the expectation on yourself to be, you know, it's like right now, for instance. Now I am on vacation, but just for the way I'm feeling, it's easy for me to just go live, you know, which, you know, it's like in part that's a beautiful thing with having work that you like to, right? Like this is work. I'm making content and I can gain super chat sometimes, but I also just enjoy being here, so I'll still do it. But if I would expect myself to always be like this, I'm going to be very disappointed, and I have had to be disappointed before. So I've seen that when, especially when you have creative work, like you talk about writing a sci-fi novel there, when I've seen how at times I felt I have to push out videos, you know, and it gets increasingly harder. You feel the pressure to do it, and then you start liking it less. So you both perform worse and you like less what you do, and you can almost ruin something for yourself like that. So I've noticed that now the best thing I can do if I feel that, you know, there's always a balance, because there can always be a day, like even when I feel good, I could be like, oh, I could record a video and I'd like to do something else, you know, that kind of thing. So I might have to force it a little bit at those times. But when I notice it's a time where it's just not coming to me as much, I don't have the same creativity, the best thing I can do then is to just slow down the tempo. And the funny thing is, so many times when you let that happen, I'm removing ants from my feet. When you let that happen, often it goes so fast until, you know, you give space for new creativity to rise to the surface. So yeah. Alex von Su says only played Slite Gecko. Okay, so you're Swedish, I guess. Appreciate the you know, the politeness of speaking English. Lots of Swedish guys I can understand, but they want to speak Swedish. But specifically on live streams, when it's international and live, you know, I want to include everyone. I think I'm gonna go soon, guys. I mean, I appreciate the chat we're having here. All the fucking ants. I mean, what I can do is I can walk back to the house, and maybe I can show, since we're into cars, I can show my uncle's car. It's a pretty cool car, I say, as someone not really super interested. Mo for Gains, do you mind that one meme of you going viral? I always find it funny, won't lie. It's like super popular. I keep seeing it on Instagram. No, I don't mind it at all. What I mind is that they fucking cut out my name, you know. I said it on a stream recently that that you make fun of me and take it out of context. You know, if you don't know, for anyone watching, it's like a screenshot of my video. Women who don't want me are insane, and it's an ugly frame when I'm like this or something, and it's a title, but the Uncommon Sense channel is cut out. So I'm happy to be a meme. I'm happy for people who make fun of me or use me to make fun, but yeah, what even go this way? I think I might have to. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to, so I don't go on someone's property. No, the only thing I mind is that they didn't give me credit for it. Like, I see this fucking meme with hundreds and thousands of likes, and the few that find me from it have to like manually go in and search me. So yeah, that's my answer. I don't mind it at all. Like, you know, especially being made fun of in that kind of way, it's just funny to me. I'm happy to play into it. Like, what I've done when I've seen a post with it is I've shown up and been like, hey, like, if you're gonna use my great thumbnails for clout, like, you better give me credit or something, you know. So that's the only thing I mind. I don't get credit. Huh. Alex von Su, did you experience the massive storm in Sweden today? It was horrible where I was. Yeah, this morning. Like, I wake up, like, I sleep in the basement. It's kind of funny. In this building where there are several apartments and I like know everyone in the house, I'm the only one that doesn't sleep in an actual apartment. I have this little, you know, how do you say? Well, little hideaway, you know, little space in the basement where I sleep. And I love it because I go up before everyone else. It's also door to door with a sauna, but it's dark and yeah, deeper into the building, you know. So it's not like I hear the weather when I'm in there, but I knew what it was going to be like. So when I woke up, I go out and open the door, and it just like boom, flew up like this because the weather was so intense. It was, yeah, storming, thunder. Yeah, it was intense. It sure is a thing. Like, I've gotten used to it now. You know, people, they stare so much at you when you walk like this. I almost feel like, you know, harassing them then and be like, yeah, see, yeah, I am streaming, you know. I'm gonna go soon, guys. Give me something to talk about the last few minutes here, walking back to the house. Bought all these random, you know, clothes on this market. Like, they were all 50 to 75 Swedish crowns each, which is like, you know, $5 to $7 US. Just because people keep commenting on my appearance in many different ways that I don't expect on online, right? So I think I can might as well play into it, just dress up a little funny. Let's see. Mo for Gains, do you prefer online or in-person personal training? So I mean, online, the difference, I mean, I love doing it in person because I just know that I can make the workout so much better for a person, like the actual workout. But when you do it online, the thing is that you can get more involved in a person's entire process, you know, not just one workout per week or something, one or two, when you'd like them to train more often, or maybe they do, but then they have to do a few themselves. And now you can schedule the entire program, have a diet plan. If they're on my elite program, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things, you know, mental stuff, mindset stuff. So I don't know that I prefer them, that they're just different. What I'll say is that's what I noticed, that, you know, when we are social creatures, and many times, you know, because my work is beautiful in the sense that many clients, you know, clients and friends, it's sort of a spectrum. someone isn't either a client or a friend. You develop certain relationships with people, and just being out in person with people, you cannot replace it completely just with online communication. It should be just like you watching me now. That should be, and I can't be your only like interaction with a human, right? It has to be an addition to something. So that's why I'm thinking about doing more in-person training as well. El Katabi asks, what are things that you appreciate in your close friends? Well, you know, the people that are really my close friends, you know, that I can rely on them bringing as much to the table as me, you know, that that I don't, because I'm a person with a lot to give, and also that people in life, you know, people want to take things from me, if you understand. People often want something from me. And so my closest friends, that I feel like I don't have to, because I'm not someone that wants to go into a relationship thinking of it like a transaction, or feeling I have to hold back because this person, otherwise it's one-sided. So with my closest friends, just knowing that I don't have to hold back, I can be as giving, as good, and as much there for them as I feel like, because I know that I can count on them doing the same for me. My dad calling me, I'll be right back. It will look like it. There we are again. Joe G, book recommendations. I recommend that you don't read too much and go do things instead. Alex von Su, would you work with the golden one if the opportunity presented itself? Yeah, I mean, I would. People have brought him up to me so many times since the channel got bigger, and even sometimes before then. And the thing is, I've known about him, but I've never followed him closely. Like I've mentioned this thing so many times. We have mutual friends. There was one time when he was supposed to show up at a poker game I was at, but he couldn't. So actually, I did finally write the message to, like, what I want to say is that there's certain, I like the guy and everything. It's not that. It's just that since I've never followed him personally so closely, it's not someone that comes to mind so much for me that, oh, I'd like to do all these things, or these things he talks about. While certain people that I've followed, it's much more obvious to me, right? So just because people reach out and I can see, like, of course, the overlap we have, I finally wrote a long message to him to present myself and that. Then I noticed later that I didn't have any internet connection when I sent that, that it went away. So I'm thinking I'm gonna act on that now in August when I get back. Try to make something happen. So yeah, no, of course I would. Of course I would. And Alex also says, you're quite similar, I must admit. Yeah, I think he's a bit more into the politics and stuff, commenting on the politics. He's definitely a bigger reader than I am. But no, but that's also the cool thing, you know, when two people are quite similar, but also different in some ways. That's what relationships in general are for, right? That there's enough common ground, but there's enough differences that you know, both bring something different to the table also. Mo for Gains asks, how do you feel about the strict laws in Sweden on steroids? I know you're natty, but in general, I mean, I don't feel anything about it. I mean, the libertarian in me, I'm a very much like, you know, live and let live kind of guy. Kind of, even if I don't agree with someone's personal choice, I'm not necessarily the one that wants to forbid someone from doing it. So, you know, is his car not around here now just because I wanted to show it? Well, we'll see. No, but so I don't feel too strongly about it. It's like if they got looser somehow, like less strict, I wouldn't care so much about it either. I wouldn't say that that's bad, but I also don't care enough that they are strict now. I guess maybe he parks the car somewhere that I don't know, because it's not here now. I guess I cannot show it. But yeah, that is still, we're out of stuff in the chat. I'm back by the house. No super chats this time. Okay, guys. Okay, I guess I work for free for you today. No, but I had a good time talking to you here for an hour, 15 minutes. There will be more spontaneous streams, possibly tomorrow. Pretty sure not on Thursday. Maybe in the weekend. There will be more spontaneous. There will be a video tomorrow. There will be a video tomorrow at least. So yeah, thank you for this time, guys. I'll just see if you want to say something before I go. I don't think so. No, we had a pretty good stream. You can always like it here at the end too. You can like it afterwards and comment and all that stuff. Guys, Elan says, thank you, man. Good time. Appreciate you. I appreciate you too, man. Thanks for helping, giving lots of, because there are always more people watching, but they're too shy to talk in the chat. So it's always nice. You know, it can seem like there's just me and 1, 2, 3 guys, but there are more people watching. So thank you for being people that actually help co-create the content. I appreciate you guys watching as well, but you know, yeah. Okay, that's it for this time, guys. I will see you later. Peace.